pencil scratch on an empty page. You lift the latch and open a window pane. And all
So my name's Alex Sutton. I am the director of the show Preludes, and it's I'm also a co-producer on the production with Danielle Toronto. The show is, on the surface, is about Rachmaninoff and his hypnotherapist set in 1900. And Rachmaninoff goes through a series of 3 years worth of hypnotherapy after he had suffers a psychotic breakdown after the premiere of his first symphony. The play musical is about how we can recreate with our creative selves and what that means kind of in the greater world.
The show is about Rachmaninoff. He wrote his first symphony. Glazunov, the conductor, was drunk when he conducted it, and it all went very, very wrong. And he was kind of slammed in the press, really, and everyone kind of disregarded him as a composer. And he has this mental block for about 3 years where, because of that traumatic event, he can't even touch a piano. He finds it so hard to enter that creative space and being able to creatively flow again. And so he goes to see Dahl, a hypnotherapist, who helps him kind of unlock that. And that's where we come in, the characters, in Rach's kind of brain. And you see us through his hypnotherapy and his sessions with Dahl.
So I'm Tom Noyes. I graduated from University of Birmingham last year. And so I play the character Rachmaninoff, which is split in between two people. So I play the Rachmaninoff, full name, and Keith Ramsey plays Rach. And so Rach's kind of the actor, singer part of our character, and Rachmaninoff is the concert pianist / a bit of singing.
My character is Natalia. I am Rach's fiancée. I'm kind of his, don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I'm kind of his rock. I'm Rach's rock. And she kind of just is there for him no matter what. As she says in the song, you're in a hole. And so I jump in. She literally loves him so much that she would sink to that level of depression to try and understand what it's like for him.
Musically, the show has 3 different strands. It consists of previously composed music that Rachmaninoff has written, music that Dave Malloy has written specifically for the show, and then a hybrid of the two, where Dave has taken themes which Rachmaninoff has used in other works, and he writes lyrics to those pieces of music and then combines them with other bits of Rachmaninoff.
Musically, you can expect to hear the Rachmaninoff tunes that you know, if you know them. If you don't know them, you might not even know that you're listening to them. I remember listening to the cast recording and thinking, did Dave Malloy write this, or is this a Rachmaninoff song? It's so subliminal. The marriage is so clever and so beautiful that you don't really realise that you're listening to Rachmaninoff. But then obviously Tom Noyes, our Rachmaninoff, plays a lot of Rachmaninoff pieces in the show, and he's an incredible pianist.
Because I played the G minor when I was younger, and the C sharp minor, which everyone knows, the dong dong dong. And so those both feature in the show. And so I did know Rachmaninoff, but I didn't know him as intimately as I know him now.
The show, I feel it's kind of unbelievably relevant for now, because it is talking very much about failure, and it's talking very much about people not being able to fully express themselves creatively, and that doesn't necessarily mean artistically, but people in jobs who fail within those jobs. So there's an awful lot of pressure put on us to succeed and grow and be better, to be our best selves. But what happens if that isn't enough? And we are constantly asked to be better, and we don't know how to. And that the idea that we have failed as humans in life for not being an influencer, for not being a superstar, for not achieving in work, for not getting a pay rise, all those things are held within this kind of piece, and it kind of explores all those ideas.
I think that's what's so brilliant about the piece is on one hand it is this amazingly written psychological portrait of a genius, a very famous classical composer, but beyond that it speaks to human beings about what it is to try and fail and try again.
And I think we all as actors can relate to that, and that kind of
I don't know anyone that
and picking yourself back up and kind of going, right, here we go again. I'm ready for another failure, and how many more are there going to be until I can be successful again? But I think we're all finding it very cathartic.
We are very much so.
notoriously especially within the UK, new musical theatre isn't done very often. When it is, it all tends to be kind of pastiches of stuff that has come before. So the most successful stuff tends to be still not necessarily anything different from before, but is kind of trying to be the same thing as it is. And I feel that especially a lot of UK work tries to be a lot like the American work rather than trying to be itself, but doing that because it's the only work that gets produced. And so we need to find those people willing to take a risk on producing something which people want to write as opposed to what they feel should be produced.
My name's Danielle Trento and I'm the producer of the UK premiere of Preludes. I chose this piece for, 1,000 reasons. The main one being Rachmaninoff, he's pretty good. The second reason, Dave Malloy, the man, I think Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812 is probably one of the most extraordinary pieces of musical theatre I've ever heard. And then to know that there's more, and he's obviously gone on to write more shows. And when this landed on my desk, I couldn't say no to it. And it's rare because it's a big choice to choose what you're going to produce next. And there's a lot of money involved and all those things. But 2 songs in, I wasn't going to let this go. It's that good. Yes, I do think as a producer we have a responsibility to obviously bring great art to theatre because people want to go and be entertained. But I think, especially with a piece like this, there is a responsibility to put front and centre difficult subject matters, things that people find it difficult to talk about. And I think mental illness in the greater world, but certainly in the arts, is really becoming talked about. It's not a taboo anymore. It's being a little bit more demystified. So any work that can highlight that and show that we can be better and we can do okay during the process can only be a good thing. We have the extraordinary Rebecca Kane playing Nikolai Dahl. Nikolai Dahl, of course, was a man in historical fact, but in this piece is played by a woman. And she, anything with Rebecca Kane has got to be a good thing, and she is extraordinary in this, not least because, as you would expect from someone like Rebecca Kane, she doesn't sing very much. But when she does, it's worth it. We have Norton James, who is one of the rare bass baritones, proper bass baritones we have in this country, singing Shelley Appin. And of course, tricky, Shelley Appin was an opera singer, so you need someone who can sing that calibre of work in a musical theatre piece. And then Georgia Louise, who plays Natalia, who is an extraordinary... she's not a new find, she's been on the circuit, but this is sort of a big step for her to be playing a lead. And then Stephen Serlin, who I've worked with 100 times before and who I just adore, playing the Master. And I'm genuinely not going to tell you what the Master is, because that you need to come and see.
All I hear is the song.